Good morning, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. How are you today?
Good.
Ohio gozaimasu. Does anybody know the meaning of that or the reference?
Good morning.
Good morning. But you know the heritage, what that might be? Japanese. And there's later on you'll see why I bring that up. So you guys are all graduating in what, a couple days?
I hope so.
Show of hands, who's excited? The teachers are real excited. All right, so when do you guys get out?
The 8th.
The 8th, okay. So you're excited to start life, huh? Different, yeah? All right, cool. Let's see if this works. Okay, I'm Dave Lilonic. I'm the founder, owner, engineer, janitor of Sticky RX Refinishing Solutions. So I'm here today with a couple objectives. First, I want to pitch my company because we're hiring. We're looking for people that want to come and work in a cool place, do cool stuff. Frankly, this is a little new for me. The world is a different place today, and it's very challenging to get people that want to work and people that have a passion to do detail work and want to be a part of something cool. It's a strange world where we run ads and people don't even apply. So I'm trying something new. The other thing I want to try to do, I know there's a chance that probably all 18, 19 of you aren't going to come work for me. So hopefully some of my 53 years on this planet, I can give you a little bit of wisdom and I can inspire you even in a small way. So I thought I would give an introduction and a background on myself so you know why I'm talking, who I am, and where I come from. So I graduated high school in Cheektowaga, John F. Kennedy, 1988. I was a major in math and electronics. I was about a B+, A- student. I really wasn't all that into school. As you can see, I was into playing guitar. That's where my head was at the time. And school came okay to me. I mean, I was very good in math and the engineering type stuff. I was probably a C+ student in English and things I didn't really care about. And I did the work, but I didn't really work real hard. So I was an average student. So after high school, I went to Buff State. And man, oh man, did I get my butt handed to me. Okay, first semester I took 5 classes, withdrew from one, failed another, barely got by the other 3. I thought that I could do what I did in high school, which is basically the bare minimum, and get through. And college, especially Buff State's a different deal. They frankly don't really care if you learn the material or not. They present the material, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't, if you miss days, if you're failing, or they don't care. The onus is on you. So it's a big shift in responsibility when you go to college. And like I said, it didn't go well for me. I got the real shocker. Now my mother was kind of the manager of discipline in the house, if you will. And my mother said to me, we came from a lower middle class family. She said, we'll pay for your school as long as you do well. If you screw up, you're on your own. So first semester, I screwed up. I got the first warning. I went the second semester, just took a couple courses. I took a technical drawing course, which I really excelled at and I really liked, but I still wasn't really into it. So I ended up stopping school. My mother pulled the funds, I stopped, and for a few years I did some other stuff. So I worked at one small shop at Cheektowaga, and then I ended up working at Luke's Enterprises on Southwestern Boulevard. Anybody know this shop? Anybody seen it? Yeah, right on the corner of Lydecker and Southwestern. Red, you probably know. No. So I worked for Andy there for about a year. The guys that are in auto body, I think you can contest. Doing auto bodies, it's pretty tough work. It's pretty physical. Laying on a wet concrete floor, sanding panels and stuff. It's not that easy. So I enjoyed it, but it wasn't really totally for me. So I left there and I was putting together my own race car and I needed some parts. And I went over to a shop and I was referred to this place in Depew, Mike Bosch Chassis Craft. Well, it turned out the owner, Mike, it was a small shop. He knew my uncle, went to school with him, we started talking, and he needed people to work. And he offered me a job. And I said, yeah, great. I mean, what's not to love, right? Working on race cars. So I went to work there, and I never took any kind of metal work in high school or anything, so I didn't know anything about metal work. And Mike was a pretty interesting guy. He didn't really teach. He would show you something. And if you got it, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. So I remember the first day, he puts me on a bandsaw, cutting out the shape of gas and brake pedals out of aluminum. I'm pretty lucky I still have all my fingers, frankly. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So I did that, and I started working in the shop, and I really liked it. And then this is the lower pictures where we would build the chassis on this jig table. I built probably 100 dragster chassis completely by myself. Cut all the pipe, notched it, TIG welded it, learned all that stuff in the shop. It was really an excellent experience, and Mike was not professionally trained. He was a truck driver that started building cars in his backyard. And he had a lot of what I call backyard methods on getting things done. And I learned a lot of things from him, a lot. It was excellent. So at that time I was working there, I wanted to, have a career and get kind of, I started to grow up a bit and wanted to make a little bit more money. I was making $5 an hour cash off the books doing this. So, not exactly going on a lot of, vacations and stuff. So I started, wanting to go back to school. So I went back, enrolled. I was on academic probation, so I had to get my butt out of that. Went back, talked my way into school somehow, and then I took a CAD course. So the interesting thing is, we started off with a program called Cascade. It's long gone, you guys certainly never heard of it. And halfway through the course, the instructor passed away, sadly. So the department chair took over, and by the way, Mr. P was Dr. Pavlik. I forgot the name yesterday. So Peter Pavlik, he took over and he started teaching us AutoCAD. And you guys know AutoCAD? Okay. So, I excelled at AutoCAD. I was pretty good at it. So I got real, proficient at it. And at the race shop, we needed drawings done. So I just started doing some at school, for Mike, and I would bring him in and show him. And Mike was a very, very technological guy. He loved new technology. And he said, oh, this is great, And he encouraged me to do more. And I said, well, I'm gonna be out of the class soon. I don't have a computer. Go buy a computer, don't worry about it. I'm gonna pay you enough to do it, okay? So now, guys, at the time, we're talking about 1990 here, a PC like here, that's probably $400 or $500, was $3,000. So it was a big deal. So, but I bought it. I took a student loan out actually to buy a computer, on the hope and pray that Mike was gonna give me enough side business. And he gave me some, not totally enough, but it was okay. And I started doing drawings for the race shop. And really did, and I was lucky to get a bootleg copy of AutoCAD. Don't anybody tell anybody. So I started doing stuff, but I didn't really have anybody teaching me the proper engineering methods. So I just knew how to do the drawings. Well, early 91, I guess it was, the economy kind of tanked. And the shop slowed down quite a bit. So there wasn't even enough work for 40 hours a week for me, and I was living on my own. So I put together a portfolio, not just a resume. And I put together drawings of the cars and everything inside the portfolio. And I sent it out to about 20 companies in Buffalo, the surrounding area, for design work. And I gotta tell you, that was a really smart thing. I mean, I essentially had no experience, no industrial experience. But the fact that I didn't send just a piece of paper resume with my name and a few things, the fact that I sent copies of drawings and pictures of the cars and everything like that, I got a lot of calls. So I had a lot of offers for entry-level jobs. And I ended up as a design engineer at North Star Design. Great company. We designed automation assembly and test machines for Harrison Radiator, General Motors, all kinds of cool stuff. And I worked with some really, really awesome guys there that became my mentors, and still to this day they are. They're great friends. So I worked at North Star till about 94, and I really got my chops going, and I was still going to school at night. And then I got hired at GM Powertrain. One of the guys from North Star left and then kind of brought me along, and I was working at the engine plant and doing machine design, designing very, very sophisticated automated equipment. And it was great. I had a lot of opportunity presented to me. And then on the weekends, I would go out and worked skilled trade supervision, which is a whole nother story, because when you're a young punk and you're working in a unit environment telling guys that are 60 years old what to do, it doesn't really go over so well. So that was an experience on its own. I finished school in '97, and I had already planned to start my own company, and I was working on it for about 6 months before I finished school. So in '97, I left GM, and I opened up a company, Automated Machine Technologies. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Then I've got a few patents, so I created another entity, AMT Innovations, which is really just a paper company that sells the products that we make. And then about 8 years ago, I opened up this division, Sticky Air Extra-Finishing Solutions, which I'll get more into. So at AMT, we did design, build of assembly, test, fixtures, different things for industry, small, big, medium, all different sizes, with electronics and all kinds of stuff. So that was really cool. And we needed to have parts CNC machine. And we were struggling to get shops to give us the turnaround we needed, the quality. So what happened was we put together our own CNC shop, and we started making our own parts inside. And we got a little taste for doing more repetitive CNC parts. So we started down a path of just doing contract manufacturing instead of doing design engineering for everything. So we did that for many years, and you can see this 3D model here is my first patent of the product called Versalock I'll talk about. So I have 3 patents now. The first one was this tool setting fixture for the CNC industry. This is Get a Grip. This is also for CNC machining. What you do is you machine a triangular feature in your workpiece, and then our fixture holds it, and you can machine 5 sides simultaneously. So those are the first 2 products, and we sell them under AMT Innovations. And then last year, I got my 3rd patent in the auto industry. When you're a mechanic and you're working on a car, you take wheels off, and you take the lug bolts or lug nuts off, you have nowhere to put them. And most mechanics set them on the top of the lift arm, and we're in the high-end car business, and a lot of those lug bolts are very expensive, so they roll off on the ground, they get damaged, they get lost. So I came up with this contraption here. It's just a holder that magnetically snaps to the lift arm that you can hold lug bolts or lug nuts. And I've got a patent on that, and we're going to start injection molding these and sell them. So Sticky Air Extra-Finishing Solutions. What happened is, as an engineer, I'm a problem solver. About 10 years ago, I bought this black Ferrari. And what I learned is these cars have a problem. It's not only Ferraris, it's Maseratis, Lamborghini, it's on keyboard mice, some hair dryers have it. They use a coating called a soft touch coating. And that coating, it's very nice when it's new. It's very velvety and soft, but over time, it literally turns to tar and melts and gets sticky, hence the name Sticky, okay? Here's a brand new OEM part. Once you guys pass that around, you can feel what that's like when it's new. Feel how it's got that little velvety, rubbery feel? So it feels pretty good, right? That coating also hides a lot of defects in the base injection molded parts. It's very resilient until it fails. So this is one, I didn't bring one that's real sticky because I didn't want your guys' hands to be black, but this one's a piece that's failing. This is a brand new part that's a new old stock. We bought a whole bunch of parts. But go around, pass that around, and you'll feel how that's going to hell. Imagine having your 300, $500,000, $4 million car going in the garage one day and the parts look like that.
I'd be upset.
You're definitely not the only one. So when this problem existed, I created a company to solve it. So this is our coating, and this is just a test panel, and you'll see a bunch of graphics on here. One of the things is a lot of the parts are buttons and switches that have graphics, and they illuminate at night. So we have to replicate all these graphics, which is an engineering role. We digitally and optically measure everything and replicate them all so that we can laser etch them and put them back on the car. So this is our coating. You'll feel it. It's a hard touch that doesn't fail, and then you'll see, what the graphics kind of look like. You can pass that around, and if you backlight that, they'll illuminate. So here's some examples. The upper left and the lower right, those are parts that we received, and you can see they're all melted down and, in pretty poor condition. So the lower left and the upper right is our work once we're finished. So we get these parts in from all over the world. They come in and we stage them like this. The dealers or the owners of the car or other shops, they take them all out, pack them up, they ship them to us from like every country in the world. So we stage them, we take pictures of them, and then the next thing we do is we pull them all apart. And this is kind of fun because you're working on parts that are thousands of dollars that you've never taken apart before, and you got to go fish. And you got to figure out how the hell to get these things apart the first time without breaking them. And you see they got, you know, electronics, and they're pretty detailed. So we break them all down into the individual plastic parts that are painted, like you see in this photo. Then they go to our prep department, and we strip these to bare plastic or bare metal. In most cases they're plastic, but there are a few that are metal. This is one of the stations where guys are working to strip the parts. So once we strip them, there's a lot of flaws in the plastic parts. We have to sand those out. So there's a lot of handwork, and it's very, very detailed work. This is one of the positions we're looking to hire for. So it's very, some might say, you know, monotonous. I say challenging. You know, you're looking at small stuff. A lot of times we're using heavy magnification. You guys are young, so your eyes are good. When you become 53, your eyes won't be so good anymore. So you can see things pretty well. But we, down to every little detail, we get these parts perfect. Then we rack them up, and then we spray them. We have 2 custom-built spray booths that are positive pressure downdraft booths, designed purposely for these parts. So Ryan here he's painting, and right below him is a downdraft table, and behind him is positive pressure pushing air into the booth. And then we have shelves on both sides because we rack the parts on one side and we put the finished ones on the right side. After paint, we bake them. We do 2 coats. If there's any flaws, we work them out. If not, they get baked overnight, and then they get lasered. Now let's see if this works. I want to play this video for you guys.
We made backing up.
I guess we gotta watch it in
easier
first.
with the F-150. Pro Trailer Backup Assist helps you guide your trailer more precisely with just the turn of a knob. And Trailer Reverse Guide uses cam.
So that's the part how we got it. Then after paint, then we're lasering it. That red laser you see is called a pilot laser. It's for positioning. So that's how we put the graphics on all the parts. Ron, can you hit escape?
Yeah.
Oh, here, I can just close it out there. There we go. So after assembly, that's a finished product. So the other thing that we're working on is a lot of these parts get broken over the years and they don't exist anymore. So we're doing reverse engineering and we're reproducing parts and putting them back on the market. We want to do more and more of that. That's where the engineering side comes in. It's very detailed work. This is one of the first products that we did. These switches were actually a rubber membrane switch, and they would actually disintegrate. So we reverse engineered them, changed them to a rigid injection molded part, and we sell these switch assemblies all over the world, and we sell hundreds of them. Now, you'll maybe notice there, I think you guys can see, you see the resolution of the housing where the mounting tabs are? We were 3D printing those housings on a $350,000 HP printer. And they're still not perfect. So now that we've sold so many, I'm having that housing injection molded. But the button is molded right from the beginning because that's what you see. You don't see the housing. So we just tried to get the product moving by 3D printing. 3D printing is great. I know you guys do a lot of it here, but it still just is not where injection molding is. This is another product that we created. These are skid plates for the bottom of the front bumper in a car. So instead of scratching up your bumper, the skid plate would take the hit. And you could change these out. And then this is a tool that we designed and built to remove a spark plug boot. So it's very difficult to get the spark plug boot out of the cylinder head. So I came up with this tool. This happens to be for my car. So I solve problems. I have a problem, come up with a tool and solve it. So we make this tool to pull that boot out. This is just a view of inside of our shop. We've got an engineering office or anything, but just so you can see how we are. It's a very clean shop, very organized. Can anybody pronounce this word? Anyone know what it is? Guy. You got it, Ikigai. Did you know it already, or you just?
No.
Okay. It's Ikigai. Anybody know what Ikigai means?
That part I don't know.
Sticky.
No. This is where the Japanese comes in. Okay. Ikigai means a reason to. In Japanese, it means a reason to live, a reason to wake. What's your purpose? And it's not a singular thing. It could be multiple, and it also can change. And in Japanese, it's very in depth. I'm giving you the American layman's version, right? So let me ask you guys this. I'd like you to guys go around and introduce yourself and tell me what your Ikigai. Put you on the spot first, since you're closest to me. Well, introduce yourself first. You're Bronson?
Yeah, Bronson.
Okay. And what's your Ikigai? What's your reason to wake up every morning? Okay. There's not a right or wrong answer. It's just what makes you tick.
My name's Joe. Wake up in the morning, it's just, I don't know, a lot of new experiences in life.
Yeah. Okay. I'm putting you on the spot. I mean, I've got time to think about this, but
I'm
George, right?
Yeah, George
Okay.
Savage.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning and build things and go fast.
There you go. All right.
I'm Ryan. I wake up in the morning to do better than I did yesterday and just build something.
That's a really good answer. Be better than you were yesterday. That's a great answer. Did you learn that, or did somebody teach you that concept?
I just kind of came up with it in about 20 seconds.
Good. That's good. That's good. Sorry? Wow, I'm impressed with these guys.
I'm Nate. I'm just trying to get to the next day.
Come on, it's got to be better than that.
Just gonna be around my friends.
All right, yeah. Hey, it might be sports, it might be anything. It's all cool.
I'm Janine. I play music.
Okay, all right.
I'm Austin. I just like to spend time with family.
Okay, excellent.
I'm Austin.
What's the coincidence of that?
Every day's different, so.
Say again?
Every day's different.
Yeah, okay.
I'm Billy, and I wake up in the morning because you don't know how many more mornings you can wake up.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
I'm Zach. I get up in the morning, but I don't sleep all day.
All right. In the corner, orange shirt.
I'm Max. I
Max?
wake up in the morning because it's better than being dead.
Better than being dead? Yeah.
I'm Parker. I get up in the morning to have fun, solve some problems, and make good stuff.
Okay.
I'm Anthony Zach. I get up in the morning to get ready for what's to come.
Okay.
My name is Ron. I wish I had more time in the day to do everything I like to do.
Okay.
I'm Catherine Meyer, and I come to work every day to try to be a support that my kids receive. And be one of the teachers that they have.
Awesome. Rick?
Mr. Drury, I come here every morning to bring joy to my students.
There you go. And I knew you'd do that.
I agree, but I also like to spread joy.
There you go. Dave?
Morning. My name's
Morning.
Dave Wagner, and I come every day to work to support everyone here in the building.
And my girlfriend Roselle, she gets up every day just because I'm in her life, right? All right, so I'm going to talk about a concept here: be positive, don't be critical. So you'll hear where this is coming from in a couple minutes, but there's a time to be critical. Critical thinking is awesome. You should always critical think. Don't take anything anybody tells you, including me, that for fact. Critical think, question. Always, try to dig in. But there's a difference between critical thinking and being negative, being a Debbie Downer and, oh, that sucks, And if you have that spirit in life where you look at everything negatively, glass is half empty, you're gonna miss a lot of awesome things in the world. So my advice to you is don't be critical in that spirit. Just look to learn the things. So some of the things I'm gonna talk about are gonna be really new to you guys, and you might perhaps wanna be critical about it. So let's just take a look. So here's another thing related, the importance of mentors. I've got a bazillion mentors in my life, 5 of them that really, really stand out. And, I had a young guy work for me years ago in the machine shop, and of all the people that ever worked for me, he was probably the only one that really listened to his parents. And it stood out how much he listened to his parents. And I have to tell you, this guy is one of the most successful guys I know today, because he humbled himself. We don't listen. I didn't listen to my parents. You guys probably don't listen to your parents. But if you do, you're going to be better off, because anybody that's older has been through it. They've made the mistakes already. They've gone through it. And if you surround yourselves with these people and you look up to them, they're going to make the mistakes for you, and they're going to give you a path forward that's easier, and you're going to get to an end, well, not even an end point, it's a journey. You're going to get successful a lot quicker. So one of my mentors, I consider him a life coach, never thought those words would come out of my mouth, is Mr. Paul Akers. So I met Paul literally through YouTube about 4.5 years ago. So in my company, it's 26 years this past week that I've been in business. I've had ups and downs, I've had joyful days, I've had miserable days, dealing with people as tough employees, it's not easy. And I didn't run my company very well as a leader, I don't feel. Successful, making money, doing real good, money isn't everything, okay? But I didn't have a culture that I was happy to come to every day. My ikigai was not to come to my company every day, because it was not a good place as far as everybody being happy and being on the same page. And I had an employee that was, probably like a top student, you guys, awesome, super talented guy, but he was not really good character. And he would do a lot of cheatful things, a lot of negative things, and I really loved him as an employee and kind of a friend, and I wanted to try to correct this behavior, and I didn't know how to do it. And I learned about something that Paul teaches, and that's how I met Paul. I learned about what's called lean manufacturing, which is a subset of the Toyota production system, hence why I'm talking to you guys about Japan. So when I met Paul, he's got several books. This book here on the left, 2 Second Lean, is his first book, sold millions of copies, gives it away to everybody. He wants you to have it free versus buy it, okay? Paul is a very generous human being. He gives his time, he gives everything for free. He wants to help people. That's his ikigai, is helping people. His last book is Banish Sloppiness, and that's the comment about don't being critical comes from that book. And Paul teaches Japan study missions, and that's one of the topics he talks about. And this is Paul and I in Japan. This is him and I also in Japan at Lexus. So Paul has a monster company called FastCap, been in business about the same time as me, 50 employees, they do about 30 million a year in sales. 50,000 square foot facility, it's like a Home Depot, it's huge. It's got about 700-800 products, does all kinds of stuff in the woodworking industry. And he started off by inventing a little sticker called a FastCap, a peel and stick cover cap for building cabinets and furniture to cover screw holes. Okay, so this little sticker turned into a $30 million a year business. He invented this, he solved the problem. So Paul teaches lean, he learned about lean very early in his business. Basically, guys came in, even though he was making tons of money, very successful, won business of the year, he had a problem in manufacturing. And he hired a consultant, and the consultant said, "Do you want to know the honest truth?" And he says, "Yeah, I do." And the consultant said, "You don't know what you're doing, and you don't know how to manufacture. You need to learn TPS." And Paul, he could have threw the guy out, right? But he humbled himself, and he said, "Okay, tell me what I don't know." And that's what started his lean journey. And now he's a lean expert around the world, and we follow and practice that model. So, anybody ever hear this word, Kaizen? No? Okay. So that means Kai-Zen, change good. Like Zen, Zen, make you happy, right? Change good. So in Japan, they practice Kaizen. But more importantly, what they do is they practice continuous improvement. So they Kaizen every single day. So every day they get up, they do something and improve it to make it better than yesterday, okay? And that's a really, really powerful concept. So every single thing that we do in life is a process. And every single thing we do that's a process can be improved. George, you got up today, you probably brushed your teeth, right?
I did.
Okay.
Believe it or not.
I'm glad to hear it. How long did it take you, do you think? Okay,
2 minutes.
okay. Now, what if I told you that maybe you wouldn't necessarily do it quicker, but you could do it better and do a better job and be more effective at it by changing the way you do it?
I believe you.
You believe it? Would you want to do that?
Sure, why not?
Why wouldn't you? Right?
It's
Right?
better.
It's better. So if you look at everything in life, you know, you guys are going into design, you guys are auto body, you think, well, I'm starting to talk to you guys about manufacturing. You're thinking, what the hell does this have to do with what I do? Well, in auto body, you're manufacturing. In CAD, you're manufacturing designs. It's all everything you're doing is a process. So what we do is we practice Kaizen. Every day we make a small improvement. And Paul's book, 2-Second Lean, is the foundation of that. TPS in the Toyota production system is a very, very involved process. And it really stands for the Human Development System. That's what Toyota is all about. But Paul took a very involved concept and he brought it down to very simple terminology. Make 1 2-second improvement every day. Okay? So every day in our work, everybody that works for me makes 1 improvement. And in the morning, we walk around and everybody highlights the improvement that they made the day before. And it could be the simplest thing. But we have made thousands and thousands and thousands of improvements in 4.5 years that have transformed our facility from maybe a messy or not perfectly organized place to a very dialed in place. And what that does is it allows us to reduce waste and get things done more effectively, okay? So if I was to ask you guys, what does everybody in this room have in common, the one thing?
Walking.
Increase oxygen.
Yeah? What attribute, maybe should I say, or what? What's that? What was that? I'm sorry, one more time? Breathing, yeah, no, I mean, what characteristics, I guess that would be a characteristic.
Well, trying to survive or
Okay,
Well, I'm trying to learn.
I'll try to learn. There's a lot of things, but time.
Oh.
I don't care, rich, poor, healthy, unhealthy, every one of us has 24 hours in a day. So if you spin this back on your ikigai, George, what did you say your ikigai is?
Building things and going fast.
Building things and going fast. Okay, so if you want more time to build things and go fast, would it behoove you to improve all the other stuff that's not that? So that if you have, let's say you have 2 hours a day right now to build stuff and go fast, wouldn't you want 4 hours a day to do that?
Sure.
Right, so if you take all the other, we call it non-value stuff that you do, and you shrink it down and you improve it, now George has more time to build stuff and go fast, right? So that's what we do, that's how we live. Okay, so we practice Kaizen to remove waste. Everything in a process that doesn't add value is waste. If I'm making coffee in the morning and my refrigerator's in the back corner and my coffee pot's over here and I have to walk this distance to put the two together, that's waste. Wouldn't it be smart if I had the coffee pot and the refrigerator and the cups and I don't use sugar, but the sugar right here where I can go boom, 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 and I can make that in 1 minute versus 10? So that's all we're doing. All we do is we take every process that we do and we drill down and we remove the waste so that we're more effective, okay? And what happens when we do that is we get more work done, everybody makes more money, the customers get more satisfied, because we're all about serving the customer. So this all came from Toyota. So the story with Toyota, after the war and everything, Toyota was a resource-struggled company, meaning they didn't have a lot of money, they didn't have a lot of space. Now they were going up against Ford. Ford had tremendous wealth, tremendous factories, a lot of places for inventory. Toyota didn't have these resources. So they learned how to remove waste so that they could be more effective and go after and compete with the companies like Ford and GM. And they slaughtered them, they killed them, okay? Because they used their minds, they thought. So in Toyota, there's several elements in basically TPS. But the two pillars are considered respect for people and continuous improvement. So that's Kaizen, doing continuous improvement. But how would you guys define respect for people? If you're gonna go work for somebody, how would you define them paying respect to you? Anybody?
Sort of like an equilibrium where like everybody gives and takes an equal amount and everybody puts in kind of their best effort. You know, like if I see that my boss is just kind of pointing at people and telling them what to do, I won't have the same level of respect for him as I would somebody as a boss that actually puts work in. And I mean, not. I think it's kind of.
I know, I get it, yeah, okay. Anybody else?
Tell them about a problem and they actually do something about it.
Yeah, okay, exactly, yeah. Anybody? Nate, right? Nate?
No, it's Parker.
Parker, I'm sorry, Parker. You were looking like you had something.
Like a boss who treats you equally, I guess.
Mm-hmm, okay.
Like not just a worker for him, but like someone he values.
Mm-hmm, okay. Well, I'm going to tell you the definition for Toyota, and it's not simple. But at the end of the day, respect for people, Toyota means to grow people. So they work to develop and grow people to be better and better. So the leaders within Toyota don't come around and solve your problems for you. They challenge you to think to solve your own problems. And that makes you more valuable, okay? And by the way, Toyota has like next to no turnover because everybody is so loyal to what the company does for them to help them become better leaders and better problem solvers. So it's a very unique thing, it's different. Did you have something? I thought you said you raised your hand.
No, sorry, my parents.
Yeah. So well, let me back up a second. There's I don't know if I can do this here. There's other, so they challenge people, they do Kaizen, Genshi Genbutsu, that means go to the shop floor and see. They certainly respect people, and then there's teamwork. Taichi Ono, he was a machinist shop foreman that is considered the founder of lean manufacturing. He was tasked with trying to maximize resources so that Toyota could become a bigger and bigger company. I could go on with this for hours, so I'm just giving you a simple overview. Well, what we have in Toyota is an identified 8 wastes. And we study this in my company because it's difficult to remove waste if you don't know what they are. So we have a morning meeting every day. We don't work for the first hour of every day. We do training every day, and we talk about these concepts. So the 8 wastes, and I'm going to say them in a different order than they're laid out here because there's a purpose of how I'm saying it. But it starts with overproduction. So you make too much of something. Let me give you an example. You're going to have a party. You're going to have a bunch of friends over, okay? And you don't really know what people are going to eat. So you make this salad. And the salad is huge, right? Because you want to serve everybody. So now you overproduce, you make too much. Now at the end of the party, you got about half left. Oh man, now I got half the salad, I don't want to waste it. So now you have to transport it. You have to take it, and you have to take it to the refrigerator. That's a waste, transportation, that's a second waste. Now you have to put it in inventory. You gotta find room in your refrigerator and you put it in inventory. That's the third waste. Now, the next day, that salad's starting to wilt and it's not looking so good and it's sat in the refrigerator, and now you have a defect. So what you do is you over process. You take that salad out and now you pour a bunch of salad dressing on it and stuff. You try to make it better so that you can eat it, and it's still not so good, right? So now you're wasting all this motion getting this salad back to an eatable level. Meanwhile, your friends, family, girlfriend, whoever you're making the salad for is waiting because they want to eat, and you're screwing around making the salad. And all that time you're messing around, your brain, which could be used to solve problems, have fun, use your ikigai, is wasted because you're busy in this cycle. Okay, so these are the 8 wastes that we work to eliminate every day. And these apply, I don't care if you're a banker, I don't care if you're a vice president of a company, you're a teacher, anything. These 8 wastes are in everything you do because it's a process. So before and after photos of 2-second lean and TPS for my company. So on the left is a before photo of our assembly bench. On the right is an after. Everybody see the contrast? Yeah. Now the first thing you're gonna think is organization. You know, being organized is a component of lean, but it's not lean. Being organized in a fashion that is not effective does not make you lean. It just makes you neat. Okay. This is laid out where everything that we need to do our job and assemble parts is right there. There's no hunting and, well, where's the screwdriver? We don't open up a drawer and fish through 50 tools to find the tool we need. Why? That would be waste. We're wasting time trying to find this tool. When we're assembling, we say a blind person can do it because you know where everything is. Everything has a place, everything's in its place. So we put everything back, everything's right where you need it, and you just grab and go, right? Now a Kaizen might be if George, say you come work for our company and you're working over there and you recognize that you're using the scissors quite a bit and they're all the way in that corner. You may create a Kaizen and you may move them closer because you're using them more often. So you say, I don't want to reach all the way in the corner. I'm going to make an improvement and I'm going to put these closer. That's a simple Kaizen. Okay? And in my company, everybody does that every single day. Here's another example. Before on the left, this is out by our paint booths. You see the door there? That's the entrance to our paint booth. So a painter will work at the cell. That's the before. Here's the after. And this is an old picture. It's been changed 50 times since this picture, if not 100. I just grabbed an old picture from our library yesterday. So that's something, and I did not do any of this. This is all my team. Didn't do a thing. So, George, where do you want to work? You want to work on the left? You want to work on the right?
I'm gonna say the right.
Yeah. Anybody want to work on the left in here? The production system, Kaizen, and culture are 3 kind of concepts that intermingle. With TPS and any kind of good culture, you have respect for people and resources. So we practice this very highly. And I noticed this morning, CAD class rules. That's a culture right there. Safety first, respect for people and property. That's respect for people and resources. It's the same thing, okay? Use equipment properly, follow school procedures. That's a culture right there, okay? Very important. So culture is something that's very big with me, and I talk a lot about it. How would you guys define culture? Anybody? Anybody define culture?
Like how people interact and get stuff done.
Yep. Yep. Excellent. Yep. Anybody else? Any definition of what you think culture means, or any elements that are within culture?
You use the school as a good example because it's kind of a, I don't want to call it like a gated community, but it's a group of individuals, who utilize resource as you can,
Mhm.
tasks, right? So like, we need to live as humans, so our first goal in the culture is figure out how we need to live. And every culture has that differently, and it's usually like regionalized, so like Canada has a different culture than America, because it's a different region.
Yep. So a culture is anything. A culture is, in your household with your parents, you have a culture. And it's a way that you treat one another. There's a set of what's acceptable and not acceptable in your house. I'm guessing that it's probably not acceptable if you come home at 4 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday night, right? So, I don't like to call them rules. We like to call them standards. But a culture is just a set of values and beliefs and a code of conduct. And as you guys start entering the world and you start going to jobs, any job you take, you're going to be within a culture. And this is where I'm going to be a little critical. A lot of the cultures you go are not going to be great. The way the world is today, it's not awesome. So you're going to go to cultures where it's going to be acceptable to show up 10 minutes late and nobody's going to say anything because they don't want to lose you as an employee. It's going to be acceptable to be on your phone. It's going to be acceptable to take a day off because the sun's shining, okay? On all those things don't serve the customer, which is why the business exists in the first place. So I'm going to challenge you guys as you go out into the world. You should assimilate to the culture on the positive notes, okay? But where they're negative, be a better person and work to help that entity build a better culture. So here, assimilate, or you're gonna resist and you're gonna upset. So what we all really want is a culture of harmony. So this is a very clashing contrast between Japan and the United States. Now, first of all, I'm here to tell you guys, I'm not anti-US. I was born in the US, I love the US, okay? But the Japanese learned so much from us after World War II. We taught them a lot of these things. And what they do is they Kaizen, they improve daily, and they sustain. So they keep getting better and better and better, yet America keeps kind of eroding downward. And it's sad to see, and I hope to try to turn it around. So in Japan, when they're looking to hire somebody, they don't care if this gentleman here is an auto body collision manager, and he's looking to hire auto body people. I'm going to tell you right now, the number one thing he cares about is harmony. He doesn't care if you can paint. He doesn't care if you can weld. He doesn't care if you can do body work. I mean, he might care a little, but he cares far more about how you're going to be harmonious within the organization. So the person that knows it all, that comes in and doesn't get along with people, is not who people want to hire. People want to hire people that want to come in and say, teach me, show me, let me be better, let me improve, I'm humble, what can you offer me, how can I learn, how can I get better? If you think you know it all, those are not the people that last the jobs. And those are not the people that have a rich, fulfilled life. So gratitude, one of the things in my company we practice is being grateful. Every day in our morning meeting, we take turns, somebody says what they're grateful for. Now, as you're hearing me talk, you might kind of view that, you might think that maybe I'm a little bit religious. I'm not. I don't follow any religion. But I do believe in hardcore values, because being grateful is the key to a great life. So I want to play a video for you that Paul did. It's fantastic, very short video, it's fantastic.
Meaning of gratefulness. I've thought a lot about this. In order to be grateful, you can't feel like anybody owes you anything. If you feel like someone owes you something, what have you got to be grateful for? So the essence of gratitude is being grateful that you've been given something that maybe you don't deserve, like the sakura trees here in Japan. That's beautiful out there. How lucky am I to have the leaves falling down on me? How lucky am I to be here exactly at the right time to visit this beautiful place in Japan and experience all this? Gratitude is something that wells up from your heart because you have something that really maybe you don't deserve. But you can't feel gratitude if you feel like someone always owes you something. That's the essence of it for me. So for instance, this morning when I was in an onsen and I got up, I went in to shave and I noticed that the different things I needed, the aftershave, all the lotions, everything was set there, but they were a little bit askew. And I thought, man, out of gratitude for the fact that somebody has put all that for me there, and to make sure the caps are back on, everything's straight, the countertops wiped up. Gratitude makes you want to do something in appreciation for something someone's done for you. So the greatest form of gratitude for me is anyone who's serving me to express deep appreciation for them, whether it be the waitress, whether it be the maid in my hotel room, whether it be walking into a bathroom in an airline and being grateful for the fact that I can go all over the world and enjoy this incredible travel, and then walking into the bathroom and making sure it's clean to leave it for the next passenger. This is gratefulness, gratitude welling up out of your heart for something that maybe you're lucky to have and maybe not even deserve. That's gratitude.
Here's another concept that's kind of around the whole gratitude thing. It's called leaving it better. And it's interesting because we've been practicing this for a few years. And then last year, my girlfriend Roselle had told me that when her daughter started a nursing job, they were given this book. And it's a little tiny pamphlet book. It's very small, you know, I don't know, 15, 20 pages, something like that. Now, I have to tell you, I can't stand reading. I can't even read a paragraph. I got to do everything audio. So I do audio books, and I never like to read. I fall asleep. So she was telling me about this. I said, well, let's see if it's on Audible. So sure enough, it was. It's a 15-minute long book. I encourage everybody to check this book out. It's excellent. But I'm going to just tell you what the premise of the book is. So a guy walks into a restroom at an airport, and in front of him is a gentleman that just finished washing his hands, and he proceeds to wipe down the whole counter or the mirror, and he's cleaning up. And the other gentleman says to him, hey, how long have you worked here? And the guy says, just chuckles, he says, you know, wouldn't it be a better world if we all left things just a little bit better than we found them? And as that other gentleman got on the plane, he started thinking about it, and that gentleman is one of the guys that wrote the book. And the concept here is that to have a better world and to have a nice place for everyone, to have a spirit in your heart where everything you do, you leave something a little bit better than you found it. And I will tell you honestly, everywhere I go, I wipe down the sink, and the sink is a metaphor, but I wipe down the sink, the vanity, wherever I am, in a public restroom when I'm done. If I walk in and there's paper towels on the floor, I pick them all up, I put them away, and I throw them out. And the reason is, who here wants to walk into a restroom where somebody left it a disaster? We've all done it, right? You guys have all walked in, you went in the toilet, and you went, well, what the hell, right? Who wants that, right? So if you don't want that, why would you leave that for somebody else, right? That must have happened to you today, right?
But recently.
Yeah.
Three
So you
different
don't,
ones.
you know. So if you don't want to receive it, why do you want to give it? You know. So in our company, we practice this, and before 4 years ago, we didn't. You'd come in our break room and be a mess, crumbs everywhere and crap. This is our break room today. I did not put this together for the photo. It is like this all the time, because we all leave things a little bit better than we found it. There's never crumbs. Everything's in a proper position. Roselle can attest to this. Is our break room always this way? I drive her crazy, right? But we all have to, it's a culture, right? We all have to interact. And I don't want to come in the break room and have crumbs over where I want to eat. No, you guys don't. Nobody does, right? So this is how we leave things. These are our restrooms. We have Japanese bidet toilet seats in the whole company, everywhere, okay? When COVID hit and there was no toilet paper, we didn't care. There was no problem for us, okay? That's how we leave it. You notice we have supplies up there. They don't ever go missing. They're always replenished. This is our coffee area. Notice we don't have any doors. We took off all the doors, because why do you want to hide stuff behind doors? Then you don't know where it is. That's waste. You got to search for stuff. So now we know where everything is. It's right there. Okay? So these are some values that we live by, right? Our main purpose is to develop ourselves so we can serve our customers at the highest level. We always work to lift up people and not put people down. Humility over being a know-it-all and ego is the path we choose. We always maintain the highest level of quality. We never compromise to do something faster. Quality is most important, and we believe in integrity, doing the right thing. One last tip I have for you guys, you're probably bored of me already. One last tip for success. I need 2 or 3 volunteers. Come on up.
Ryan, you wanna come up the bud? Okay. I don't know what volunteering for, we'll find out, I guess. Where do we go?
Just come out right here. All right, just shake my hand.
I'm George.
George, I'm Dave.
Nice to meet you, Dave.
Ryan, good?
Parker.
Parker. So you guys don't need any training, okay?
Sport's easy.
That is one of the most important things is a handshake. As you're going out and you're looking for jobs, I don't care what you wear, I don't care what you look like, that is important. And you guys did it all right.
Thank you.
So what do you think the most important elements are for a good handshake?
Eye contact, firm, and name.
Awesome. You guys are good. I don't have to teach these guys anything. That's great. Eye contact, number 1. You know how many people that come interview with me and you go shake my hand and they're looking down at the ground or something like this? You know? Firm grip. You don't want to miss and be late. You know, you want to. You don't want to break anybody's hand, but you guys did it all perfectly. Okay. And a short, not a real long. Hey, how you doing? What? Just a nice short shake and away you go. And then a greeting, and then show appreciation. Maybe nice to meet you. And what I believe in is you start every meeting with a handshake and you end every meeting with a handshake. Okay? So with that, it's a wrap unless, I don't know how much time we have. This is a 13-minute video of Paul's company FastCap. It's a great video if we've got the time, but I put it in there as an option.
I'd like to see it.
Okay? Got time? All right.
Are we good to sit?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are about to see total operational excellence.
Hey everyone, Paul Akers. So I'm at FastCap and I get so many calls and emails every day. People say we want to come tour here.
Okay, what anybody think of that place?
That was awesome.
Wild.
I wanna live there.
How?
So wild.
I talked to Paul like out of a 365-day year. I talked to him 360 days a year for the last almost 5 years. Talked to him this morning. So he's an awesome human being. So,
Did you get a tour?
pardon me?
Did you get a tour?
Well, I can have a tour anytime I want, but he's been out of country for 2.5 years. So as soon as he's back, I'm going. Marcel and I are gonna meet him in Japan in October. He's in Japan right now. She speaks Japanese. I've been there once with him, and she speaks Japanese. So we're gonna go for 2 weeks, one with Paul, and then a week to just travel around. So, but anything you saw in the video that inspired you, that you liked in particular, anything except from the Porsche?
Toolboxes.
Yeah, that was insane.
All of our tools are the same way.
Even the chunks were organized.
It was off.
Can you imagine?
But see, there's a misconception about lean, and people that don't understand it think it's about working harder. It's absolutely completely opposite. It's about working easier. When you think smart and you lay things out with a lean way, you work way less hard and you get way more done. Because you're not spending all your time looking for stuff, chasing around, all this craziness. Discharge.
How do you get to that point? Because like in my mind, like my dad's shop is probably like every other shop in the country where it doesn't have the foam and it's all organized. How do you get there? Like what steps do you have to take to make it to the point where everything's so organized and working so efficiently?
Well, first of all, you have to be educated. You have to know that there's better, right? right?
Right.
It doesn't fall out of the sky. So like me, I went looking for a better way. And once you know the better way, you have to be deliberate. You know, if you study something and you don't apply it, it's for naught, right? You know, if you take this class here and you don't use it, you know, you didn't really get anything from it. So you have to be deliberate. And that's why we make improvements every day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Every day we make an improvement. I give my guys one pass a week to not do an improvement. So 4 days a week, everybody has to make an improvement. And in the beginning, what happens is you find yourself searching for something to improve, but you don't have to, because problems are coming at you like meteors all day long. And all you gotta do is reach up in the sky and grab a problem that's coming at you and solve it. Paul calls it fix what bugs you. So if you're working on something throughout the day and it bugs you, you stop right there and you fix it. I mean, what I talked about today is like not even 1/4% of what we talk about. This is a very in-depth culture building thing. So Paul talked about just in time, he talked about Kanban. I didn't mention any of that stuff to you guys. So I'll talk about Kanban real quick. We have Kanban cards in our whole facility. So like toilet paper, we have a safety stock number of rolls of toilet paper. We have a card attached to it. That's called a Kanban card. Kanban means signal. So those are on the shelf with the rest of the toilet paper. As you use the toilet paper and you get to now this safety stock, you have to pull a card to take anything out of there. You pull the card, you drop it in a box. That's the signal to reorder. So we have these cards all over our facility, so we don't run out of anything. And it's simple. Nobody has to call me or say, hey Dave, we gotta order this, or they forget. As soon as they come to the card, they pull the card, they drop it, and then throughout the week, we pick up the cards, we order stuff, and we replenish it. So it's very simple. So when you use your brain and you do things smartly, you make life really, really easy, and the byproduct is time. You're getting stuff done. We get done in 6 hours a day, where people get done in 30. And that is not an underestimation. And not because anybody's running in my shop doing it. It's at a casual pace. Yes, sir.
So what there has to be like a fault or a flaw. Like what is your guys' limiting factor when it comes to this system?
Change. People don't like change. So in the beginning, it's tough. It's tough to get people to think differently and change. But when people do, then it snowballs. It takes over. So when I implemented this, you understand, I implemented it with employees that were with me at the time 15 years, 10 years, and they were really set in their ways, right? And they don't like change. And there were some very uncomfortable conversations that had to happen. But if you want excellence, you don't get there by backing down. You have to have a clear vision, you have to know what you want, and you have to push through and persevere to get to it. And any good leader doesn't sweep problems under the carpet. Any good leader confronts problems head on, works on a solution, and learns and moves forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Any other questions? Or?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's say you had like a couple dozen 24 donuts and you needed to get rid of them. How would you do that?
I couldn't help you. I don't eat sugar.
You know? All right.
No.
Fair enough.
You give them to a bunch of graduating students?
Well, that might work. You guys want to come back here and just have a seat? Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.